What is going on, nation? Another episode of Beyond the Box is here. Even amid thunderstorms, we are making it happen. Eric, Vincent, what is going on, man?
Yeah, if y'all see me twitching and like looking around, that's the shookness of me in thunderstorms. I don't rock with that, but
Oh, you're
I'm
not a
hanging in.
thunderstorm guy, huh?
Nah, I'm a big baby. At
Oh,
32 years old, I'm still a baby on the inside.
okay. So if you lose fantasy football, you're gonna have to stand outside in a thunderstorm.
Oh, you clearly don't care about my well-being. Good to know. Now I know what I'm set up for. Cool.
I mean, you're gonna make me dance to Billie Jean on doggone TikTok, so I might as well make you stand outside in a
You're right.
thunderstorm.
That's still worse. That's right. I'm fine with that.
It is worse.
What's up,
I
y'all?
tell you what, we there were some bad storms last weekend too, and my kids were up with me when the storms were going on. We got a picture window and we ran to it and we were like watching the lightning flash, and my son's eyes are just glued to it, and my daughter is literally like hiding behind my leg. She's like, I don't like the storm. Yeah. So she doesn't like the storm. Jack now is like, hey, I need to have a guy's night where we sit out on the porch and watch thunderstorms. And I'm like, I'm all for it because I love thunderstorms. I will sit outside on the porch in the middle of a thunderstorm because they are incredible. Not the one we're having today because it was like a 60-mile-per-hour gust, and I'm not dealing with that. It literally like pulled like one of our flowers off of our porch, so that's not great.
You sound like women on Instagram who just go for storms at night. That's what I got from you. I'm learning a lot about the things that interest you, man. It's okay. This is cool.
The rain falling down, and you just.
We'll talk about that later.
That was very judgmental.
We'll talk about that
later. Hold on a second now.
Let's get into it.
That
Go
was
ahead.
very judgmental for a second there.
I didn't expect that from you. I didn't expect you to be a gaze at the storm type of guy.
I didn't say gaze. I just said sit in. Like, just watch. Just enjoy. Just let the water and the rain just kind of like set your mind at ease. It's very calming and very relaxing.
For who?
Me, actually.
Yeah, you, yes. Anybody else who feels the same in the comment section, let me know.
Please.
That is
let's vote on this right now. Do you like thunderstorms? Yes or no? Ricky Sanders, Team AJ. There we go. From
Ricky,
YouTube. Hey, storms are majestic.
I'm tired of being the bad cop on
very
this show.
much.
Oh my goodness.
And Charles, he also says storms sound awesome, especially when you're getting to watch the lightning. Yes, 100%, not percent, but I guess pun intended, porcent because it's raining. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Right?
Well done.
Yeah, Ricky again. Ricky, you and I can be best friends.
I don't know if
you're friends with Eric or not, but Ricky, we can. But
the lies coming out of his mouth.
Beth here from Facebook.
Shout out to you, Beth. I appreciate you. Beth's a real one on this chat.
In our very quick and unofficial, but 100% legit poll, thunderstorms are better than non-thunderstorms. Thank you, Eric, for participating. Here's your second place trophy. We have a show to do. We have an actual show that we have to do, and we're sitting here talking like we're the Weather Channel or something.
Let's reel it back in.
This
back
is
on the
Beyond
rails.
the Box. Let's talk some football because, the Lions preseason, maybe it has cooled your thoughts a little bit. So we want to talk about that. We want to talk about the preseason, talk about who's, been cut, kind of our takeaways from the preseason. We also want to get into Hard Knocks. Like, what are they going to do now that there's no preseason games? Like, what are we hoping to see? And then, Eric, let's tell the people about our final segment that they can weigh in on. They can weigh in on all of the segments, but we came up with this one called Hoo-Rah or Who Cares?
Yes, sir.
Explain that to the folks for us.
So basically, for Hoo-Rah and Who Cares, we're going to take a look at some headlines around football. We're going to take a moment to celebrate a person, a team, a story, somebody that deserves a little bit of recognition, give them a little bit of prop on our end. And we're also going to take a segment into second to say, who cares? For somebody we're tired of hearing about, something we're sick of finally, that's just going around everywhere on the TV. We're going to lay that down and get it out of the way too. So, a little bit of appreciation, a little bit of hateration at the same time. It's a good balance for both. It'll be a good time.
It will be a good time. And we really expect a good time interacting with you as we have already done on the show. So don't forget to comment, drop your thoughts into the chats wherever you're watching on social media. And this is a great plug for that. Wherever you're at on social media, follow Detroit Sports Nation because we cover everything, especially on
Everything.
YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, click that bell and that like button so you can get notifications when we drop the latest content, because it will be worth it, guaranteed. Let's get into the preseason, Eric, and let's talk about our takeaways.
Let's do it.
Preseason games, we've had Hard Knocks is probably obviously the most celebrated, not even arguably, it's the most celebrated offseason for the Lions because of Hard Knocks and a lot of anticipation. 3 games down, 1-2 in those games. You're still drinking the blue Kool-Aid. I not yet, am not. But what are some takeaways you got from this Lions group in this offseason? Maybe a biggest winners, biggest losers situation.
Something that I've gathered for right now is the Lions defense is seeming to be taking the shape of a bend but don't break type of defense.
Yes.
They surrendered a lot of yards. They weren't very polished, consistently on defense, but when it was time to get off the field on third down, they made plays happen. You saw the D line getting a lot of pressure. And be clear, still, they don't have all their guys. Aquar is still getting healthy. Got the rookie's name that we got in the second or third round. Paschal, he hasn't played yet.
Paschal.
It's still a lot of people that they can roll into that rotation. So I like the form of that from what they're building. The secondary is kind of taking hold, and I like the bend but don't break mentality that they have. You're not gonna shut anybody down in today's NFL, but if you can get off the field on third down when you need to, that's the sign of a successful defense, and I love seeing that from this team.
I'm going to agree here with Jacob. Mm-hmm. Send every other quarterback not named Goff to the XFL because they're so bad, man. Like,
oh my God.
At one point in that game versus the Steelers last week, Boyle had as many balls batted or intercepted as he had completed, which is not great. Like,
horrible.
Not great at all. And this is the guy that after week 2 in Indianapolis, we thought, oh, he looks comfortable. He looks like somebody that could at least like step in and make you acceptable,
yes.
Right? Not somebody that's going to win you games. Because if Jared Goff goes down, like, make no bones about it, this team will lose every game that Jared Goff doesn't play.
They're done.
But Boyle comes out and literally like just craps the bed against the Steelers. And then once again, you talk about that bend but don't break defense. What is it with Mitchell Trubisky and the Detroit Lions?
Whatever it is, he feels so comfortable with this team. No matter what jersey he got on, no matter where he's at, he just owns this team, and it just drives me insane. Sick seeing him get off on the Lions.
I want to address this from Charles real quick. He said, but you, AJ, said, how is this the biggest issue right now, not compared to the rest of the team? Yeah, that's echoing what I said last week on Beyond the Box. Like, if this is the problem that the team, like, if this is what we're so focused on, then we can't really complain about the other team. Right. But what I'm saying is you at least need somebody capable when Goff goes down. The rest of the team also has issues. But, these two guys, I mean, and, box scores are box scores. There's a lot more that goes into box scores. But when Blau's 17 for 32, barely over 15%, Tim Boyle's 5 for 15, he's 33% completion rating. Like, he throws a pick, Blau throws a touchdown. They're both only averaging 4.3 for Boyle and 5.0 for Blau. Like, those are not capable NFL quarterback stats by any stretch of the imagination. No. And like, I'm hoping, like, I understand, like, I get chemistry is a big deal, and I understand people are like, well, the quarterback room is solid, they're like close knit. I get all of that. But at the end of the day, you're not creating a boys club. At the end of the day, you're trying to build a winning football team, and there's plenty of people that can be a backup quarterback to Jared Goff and actually be competitive, not these two.
Yeah, it was disgusting. Tim Boyle came out with the first team to open up the first half. So I was expecting to see him get some plays downfield, build some camaraderie with the open targets. We haven't seen really any DJ Shark. I was hoping to see some highlight plays from him with Boyle. That didn't end up happening. It's, again, you don't want to worry about your backup quarterback position, but that's all we've seen so far. And apparently Dan Campbell's made a choice and he's leading in a direction. I don't know where that's going to be, but it's impossible to be excited for either of these guys. But another guy I got to give some credit for, and some people may be upset about this, but
you're about to take what I was about to say.
I can
already see it. I know what you're going to say.
I gave him a lot of flack on the news desk last week, so I got to give props to Jeff Okudah. Let me take a quick sip from my man Okudah, man.
Ricky had it out. I had it all loaded up and was ready to go. Like,
oh, you were okay. All right, go ahead.
that's exactly where I was going,
You can
right?
take
Like,
it.
if
Go
we
ahead.
talk about potentially biggest winners, biggest losers, there were a lot of question marks around Jeff Okudah coming into this offseason. He made some nice plays on Sunday against Pittsburgh. I know, stopping a drive deep into Pittsburgh territory with a great play, good physical play around that wide receiver. But he was not listed as a starter on the depth chart week 1.
No.
And now, according to coach, he is going to be a starter week 1.
Yep.
I would say that's probably one of the bigger developments, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because you never want to see a top 3 pick bust. Like,
no,
you're never rooting for that. And if you are rooting for that, go follow tennis, because this is like, you want to see players develop. Darius Slay in his first year was not great.
Was rough. Yeah.
Very rough.
Yeah.
It takes time to develop. So it's like, okay, and he's been injured, so hopefully he can stay on the field. And he's got, I mean, so if we go biggest losers, biggest winners, biggest losers are the 2 backup quarterbacks, because not a single one of them set themselves apart. And I feel like an unretired Brett Favre at 50 years old could come in and be a better backup quarterback than these 2 guys could be, throwing left-handed nonetheless. Biggest losers. Biggest winner for me is Okudah.
I'm with that. I feel like looking at just about everybody I could think of who at least had some rough moments has had some bounce back moments as well. The linebacking core didn't open up preseason well, but Derek Barnes and Jared Davis, even though Davis got cut, he still showed some progression.
Unofficially.
Yes, unofficially. The backup quarterbacks are both just up and down. So yes, they're easily by a mile the biggest losers. And one more for Okudah, because again, he wasn't. The biggest thing that I appreciate about him getting this job or this spot is that he earned it. You just spoke to it. He didn't open up as a starter week 1. Week 2 against the Colts in their scrimmage, he didn't have a good showing. He didn't open up with the one, so he had to earn everything he got. I was worried about his lack of, I guess, display on Hard Knocks. Like, they didn't talk about him at all. No, I think maybe now he will, but I mean, it's very encouraging to see him taking a step forward when they need it.
The question that I have, and this is me just trying to play one devil's advocate, but also be a realist. Did Okudah win the job, or did the guys ahead of him lose that job?
He won it. He definitely won it. He was all over the place, even if it was just the limited time against the Steelers. Like, that play against Pickens, where, again, I'm pretty sure, remind me if I'm correct, that play he made was right after the Lions went for it on 4th down at their old 25-yard line. They were screwed in that position. And Okudah comes in with a huge play, swats it down for Pickens, who had an awesome preseason up until that point. That was a huge play for him. So that, without question, was a W for Okudah. He didn't get handed anything.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into unofficially, there are some cuts that have been made. Now, there have been reports from like Dave Burkett and guys like that say these cuts will not be official until 4 p.m. tomorrow, when the cutoff actually is for the 53-man roster. But right now, there's 5 guys that have been cut. Khalil Pimpleton, the wide receiver that was featured on episode 3 of Hard Knocks quite significantly, and I want to talk about him. Tight end Devin Funchess, who dealt with the little mid-camp injury. Offensive tackle Kendall Lamb, who was a late addition to camp anyways. Old friend alert, linebacker Jarrad Davis also is reportedly being cut, and wide receiver Tom Kennedy, up until this point, is who we know. Which one of those names to you is the biggest surprise?
I will probably agree, but it's got to be Kennedy. Kennedy was all over the place. Like, I love the way his ability to get open. He was making tough catches with his hands in traffic with both quarterbacks. Like, he didn't have a rep with just one or the other. He was catching passes off of both of them. And I thought he outplayed Trinity Vincent. Like, he had a couple nice plays, converting some 3rd downs against the Colts. Like, he had a pretty good preseason, but I don't think he was more impressive than what Kennedy was doing. Again, none of these guys are going to be starters, but at least for a roster spot, I thought Kennedy had it locked up. I'm really shocked by that.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at the depth at wide receiver that the Lions have at this point, right? And Kennedy fits a very specific mold of a wide receiver. He's not an outside guy. He's not, really even, I would say, a deep threat type of guy. He's a Danny Amendola. He's a Julian Edelman slot guy that's going to get you tough yardage across the middle. And he doesn't have the speed that Amon-Ra St. Brown has. So
Right.
you're rarely going to carry that many slot type, receivers because you can
Of
play
course.
other guys in the slot. It's not difficult. So he, to me, like, it's a surprise given the production that he had. The least surprising to me is actually Gerard Davis.
Yeah.
That's actually the least surprising to me.
Yeah,
Like,
that
when
is
they signed
shocking.
him, I did not expect him to actually get out of camp. Kennedy will get picked up by somebody, so he's not even going to make the practice squad. Pimpleton, I think for sure, given his return ability, will
Mhm.
not be in a Lions uniform, will not be on even, the practice squad,
Mhm.
just because of, I mean, he cost himself in that Colts game too, because there were some very
Yeah.
catchable passes and some very easy adjustments that he could have made
Yeah.
that didn't set himself apart, and that's what these undrafted rookies specifically have to do, right?
Yeah, it was one play where on Hard Knocks where Kennedy caught a touchdown, and you can see Pimpleton's parents in the crowd saying, "Oh, it should have been him, but we'll
It
take
should have
him."
been 8-3 instead of
And
8-5.
he should have had the play 2 plays ago. You wouldn't even be in this situation. So I do feel bad. Like I thought just his special teams explosiveness alone, maybe he would have got a spot, but they seem to have got something special in number 15. So I don't really think,
Yeah.
yeah, it really wasn't a lot of space for him either. So yeah, it's kind of
Here's a name we have not heard much of, but Beth Sackett
yeah.
says, I hope they don't cut James Houston, which
That's
is a
another we
guy that
just
you were pretty high on
yeah.
coming out of the draft specifically.
We were just talking about edge rushers. He's somebody that we haven't even get to see make any plays yet. He's
Yeah,
somebody
much
I'm
of
real
it.
high on.
Like,
Absolutely.
and that's the thing, right? Like, I know Pascal's dealing with an injury, right? So we haven't seen much of him.
Right.
I'm going to throw this out there, and I know this is just kind of playing to the game a little bit, but do you kind of wish they would have taken Malik Willis in the second round instead of Pascal? Given what we've seen Malik do. And I know hindsight is 2020, right? So I'm not trying to sit here because listen, I have said on this show numerous times that I was not a big fan of Malik Willis. I think that he has a very good skill set. I have this small college theory that when you come from a small college school, it does not translate well. There are exceptions, Josh Allen being obviously the biggest exception,
Right.
but it does not translate as well. And so to use a second, third round draft pick on him, I was not high on. But does it make you? Did you want Malik Willis from the jump street?
Yeah,
You
I
probably
did.
you
I
probably wanted
did.
him number 2
I
over
did.
Hutchinson.
I
You're like,
listen,
why did they take Hutchinson?
every single time when they traded up, I thought it was a chance. When they fell to 2 in the second round, I thought it was a chance. Third round, I thought it was a chance. I'm not mad, but I absolutely did want him. I thought he showed some promise, and given the skill set around him, I think he would fit really good with this offense. I'm really high on him. I think he's going to have a pretty good upside as long as Tennessee takes care of him. But for me, yeah, I definitely was high on him. I understand the optics of not getting him so early, but I was pretty high on him in the
I would have
opportunity to
been
grab
fine
him.
in the third round. When he was there in the
Yeah,
third round,
yeah,
I would have been fine with that. First or second round, I would have been like, but
yeah.
it
It
is
was
what
a
it is,
reason he
right? Like
slipped.
hindsight's 2020. You're never gonna go back and be able to redraft that. We ended up with who we ended up with. We hope that Josh Pascal ends up being a phenomenal complement to Aiden Hutchinson. It's just interesting to discuss in retrospect. Now, given the quarterback class that's going to be coming out in 2023 and Jared Goff clearly not being the future of this team, you would hope that there's a decent quarterback there when you're picking in the first round, and then you let the cards fall where they may. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's talk about Hard Knocks, right? Because our show is kind of at a little bit of a disadvantage because we have to wait an entire week, literally an entire week, a
I
full
hate it.
7 days
I
to
hate it.
talk about Hard Knocks. And by
Yeah.
the time we talk about it, we're just preparing for episode 4, 5, whatever. So, given what we know, given the fact that we're going to see the Steelers game, and just it wasn't a great effort.
No.
It was not
Terrible.
a Dan Campbell effort. It was
No.
bad. I'm very interested to see what he has to say about that. First of all, I think we're going to start getting into those player conversations where it's like, "Hey, dude, sorry, but the dream's dead,"
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be tough, right?
Yep.
Where do you think they go on Hard Knocks after this?
Yeah, I see a slow kind of sad start. I mean, we kind of got a little bit of the foreshadowing in the last episode where the running back core wasn't really playing well, and Deuce Staley, in his lost voice, was just ripping them. Like, he was getting into their behinds and telling them what they needed to hear, but when he was talking like Michael Jackson, it was wild. So,
How those
yeah,
guys kept a straight face during that
yeah,
entire interaction, I have no idea, because
I
I know that I would have been looking at him like, "Coach,
I
come
paused
on,
like
man.
30 times.
You sound like a middle school boy going through puberty, and you're yelling all these profanities at me, and you want me to take you seriously?"
I was ready to see somebody. I kept rewinding and fast forward to see
So did
everyone go just.
I thought for sure it would be Jamal Williams, and then I
Yes,
thought, no, like, he's too much of a leader to let the
yes,
goofy side come out.
yep,
But, like, and Swift clearly has no emotional, like, capacity in his body at all for
none.
anything.
Yeah,
So it wasn't gonna be him, and the other guys are trying to make the team. So, like, I get why
exactly. So
there
they
was
got
no
him.
snickering, but somebody had to be like, "Come on,
So
man,"
they
like,
were thinking it for sure. For the next episode, they've been showing a lot of love to this guy, and I think it's only going to get higher at this point. I think Rodrigo's going to get another pop now that Jared Davis is gone. I feel like they'll hone in on a lot of the mistakes that were made. I feel like it's going to be a tough episode. Like, there were so many penalties by both teams, but the Lions especially. The offensive line wouldn't stop. Like, it was so many nasty penalties. So I see a lot of chewing out by Frank Haley to the
yeah.
offensive line. I see a lot of tough coaching and a lot of hard love from them coming up.
There have been 3 preseason games. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
3 episodes of Hard Knocks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is your anticipation for this team changed at all?
No, not really. We haven't seen them at 100%. We haven't seen like the full form of their depth. We've only seen the things that they're working on, and those are the things that are making me excited. Like, we talked about it before with Hutchinson lighting up inside and putting Harris
Yep.
on the outside. And given the depth that they still have around those guys, I think they're only going to be that much more effective. So, no, I still got 8 wins as my expectation, between 6 to 8 wins. And I think a lot of the young guys are going to be shining a lot.
Between 6 to 8 wins, that's pretty significant, especially when the over-under was, like, 6.5 not that long ago.
Okay,
Like,
I'll
you're
stick to
not
my
really
8
taking
then.
much of a leap there.
Well, compared to what they did last season, it is, yeah. If they do that again, I would be worried. If they get 6 wins, I'll be okay with that. But
I
yeah,
would
I'll
actually
stick
like
to
to
my
hear
8.
from
I'll
everybody,
stand firm
like,
on my 8.
everybody who is watching this show right now,
Yeah.
how many wins do you have the Detroit Lions at this season? We've talked about this, and when you comment on that, let me know, has your anticipation changed a little bit given what you've seen through Hard Knocks and through the 3 preseason games? Like, are you like, "Man, I thought they were gonna win 13 games, and then now I feel like they're only gonna win, like, 8,"
Mm-hmm.
right? Or were you
Yeah.
like me, "They're gonna win 8 is what I thought, and then now I'm kind of, like, cautiously optimistic that they may get to 6 wins." Like,
Okay. Okay.
may get to 6 wins. So, like, but again, cautiously optimistic, and I hope to be pleasantly surprised, right? That's kind of where I am at. Just some numbers start to roll in here, right? Charles has them at 8 wins.
See?
Jeff
Okay,
Bilbrey.
Charles.
Jeff Bilbrey has them at 5s, and our secondary is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be our death. Yes.
Yep.
Don't draft the Lions in your fantasy
Don't
as your
do it.
fantasy defense if you play in a league that has defenses. Probably not a great idea, but
Mm-mm.
if you need a streamer 1 week and they're playing somebody terrible, you might be able to, like the Bears. Like the
I
Bears.
Yeah, I think
Jacob
they're where we
says
at?
7 was always my number, and I
Okay.
think it's still that. Okay, so the offseason has not changed Jacob's belief in this team, which is good. That
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that. And to put too much stock into the offseason is, we don't want to get too high. We don't want to get too low, right?
Right.
Everybody ready to crown Jared Goff after the first drive of the offseason. Like, I get it. It was exciting, but let's remember that there's 17 games that they are playing this season. So it's a long season, and it is going to be a grind. Let me see. Ricky here says, I was at 4 wins and now I want my money back. So I'm assuming he wants his money back because he thinks they're going to lose less than 4 or they're going to win more than 4. That would be interesting follow-up there, Ricky. Is it going to be less than 4 or is it going to be more than 4? Because that will kind of give us a clue as to what you meant by that. And so while you're doing that for us, Eric, let's transition from the pro game to the college game. And let's get into another quarterback discussion, because apparently in the state of Michigan, all we can talk about are quarterbacks.
That's it.
And
That's
here's
it.
the deal, right? Like, Jim Harbaugh came out and made a decision. Kind of.
Yeah, look, put some air quotes on that.
There is no quarterback controversy. It's not really even a 2-quarterback system. What Jim Harbaugh said, to paraphrase, is both guys have played exceptionally well during camp, and they want to give them a good evaluation during game time. So Cade will be the starter game 1. JJ McCarthy will be the starter game 2, and they will make their decision in game 3. Now, Eric, what are your initial thoughts to this? Because there's a whole nother level of this that I want to get to in a minute. But what are your thoughts on the Michigan quarterback situation?
Anybody who knows me knows I'm not a Jim Harbaugh fan at all. Like, I don't like anything he says. I don't like his coaching philosophies, and honestly, I don't even believe him, because from what we saw, he ran the system where Cade was a starter, but still brung in McCarthy on other reps throughout the game. Not even like Cooper play one play with Cade, next play was you JJ. And I can't buy into that. I can't buy that works consistency wise for this offense. But it worked well for them last season. So I'm having a hard time doubting him still. Yeah. I still think they have enough weapons to where they can keep those guys in a safe environment. I don't think either of them are going to elevate their play and look like some top 10 pick in the draft. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But do I think they could be efficient enough to not turn the ball over, put the ball in the hand of their weapons, their receivers, their running backs? I think they can do that. So while I'm not high on the philosophy, I do think it could still pay dividends like it did last season. So that's kind of where I'm at with it at this point.
So I'm at a little bit of a conundrum here, because I want to give you my opinion, but then I also have to tell you what Jim Harbaugh said about this decision.
Oh, God.
And I feel like if I give you my opinion after I tell you what he said, you're going to think I endorsed what he said. But then I think if I tell you beforehand and then I give you what he said, that's going to be anticlimactic. So I'm going to actually do it where I give you what he said and then I give you my opinion. But I want it to be very clear to you and everybody who's watching, this is not an endorsement of what Jim Harbaugh said today about this quarterback situation. He said that this kind of decision was not built upon an NFL model, but was built upon the Bible. And here's what he said. Okay. He said, it was an approach used by King Solomon, and he was a pretty wise man. Now, what he is referencing, for those who may not know, is there is a biblical story of King Solomon where 2 women had a child, and in the middle of the night, one of the child passed away, and the other mother went and grabbed the other child from the other mother and tried to pass it off like it was hers. The other mother brings her before King Solomon, and King Solomon tells them, let's just saw the baby in half, and both of you can have one half. And then the real mother said, no, let that mother take care of it. And that's how King Solomon knew who the real mother was. That has to be, there's no other biblical story involving King Solomon that would speak to a situation like this. And this is a tweet that was on Unnecessary Roughness. It was a video that you can find from Unnecessary Roughness where he says this. And here's the issue, right? I get what he's trying to say, but he ain't right.
Okay, please walk me through it, because I don't even get the part where you understand what he's saying. Please walk me through
He's trying to take the fact that they have 2 good things and they really can't go wrong either way, is what I'm assuming he's trying to say. This is all speculation at this point, but the story doesn't apply. So as my brother had shared that with me, and I said, yeah, it doesn't really apply, but A for effort, right? These statements are, they're
dumb,
they're Harbaugh'ian,
stupid,
right?
Dumb, horrible, bad coaching. Let's go there. What are we doing? Come on, man. A second.
Listen, let's not take. And I knew I'm so glad I saved this, because you are reacting to this raw.
He's a terrible. Go ahead.
Here's the deal. While the analogy is terrible, this decision is actually brilliant. It's brilliant.
Okay.
It's
Please
brilliant.
tell me more. Tell me more.
You wanna know why?
Why?
Because they're in a situation with 2 quarterbacks that can actually get them where they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Cade got them a Big Ten championship and a win against Ohio State. He's done nothing to lose that job. And JJ is purportedly better because he's this special kind of talent, and you've seen flashes of that. Michigan's quarterback situation is actually in a very good position, unlike their neighbors to the east of the Detroit Lions. I know you disagree with me right now.
No, I don't. No.
But giving these two guys an opportunity to run, right? Week 1's going to be Cade, so they're going to game plan for Cade. See how the offense runs. Week 2, they're going to game plan against Hawaii. Like JJ is a starting quarterback, he's going to be the starting quarterback, and they're going to see how he plays. And it's going to be measured based on points per drive, which is something that he said. It's not going to be the only metric, but that's one of the ways that they're going to evaluate, which is a good way, right? If you got the offense churning, but you're only getting field goals out of it, then you're not being effective. So I think that giving these guys game runs, because you can't you cannot evaluate JJ McCarthy on anything that he's done yet. Because all of the snaps that he's gotten are against 2s, 3s, and 4s. Everybody wants to talk about that playoff game against Georgia, right? Half of Georgia's 1s and 2s are sitting on the sideline during that game, already popping bottles. There is no competition for JJ out there right now. So getting him an opportunity to see a number 1 defense, and arguably Michigan's defense is probably going to be better than what Hawaii's is, because they just had Vanderbilt drop 63 on them last Saturday. It's still getting him game action. At the end of the day, Cade still is going to be the starting quarterback, in my opinion.
Okay. This show is called Beyond the Box, right?
Yeah.
Where we look beyond just the box score. So you've done your job in analyzing the X's and O's. I don't even care about that at this point. If I'm a player in the locker room and I'm sitting here listening to Mr. Climb Trees at Neverland talk about how we're not going to take the NFL route in football, we're going to go off Jesus and King Solomon for what we're going to do to be a football team, I'm walking out of that locker room. I don't care about none of that. The X's and O's at this point are so irrelevant. Bro, I couldn't imagine hearing my coach have a blasphemous, idiotic take like that. That is so weird. That is so weird for him to say, but so on brand for someone like him.
But, I mean, to his credit, all he ended the statement saying was, he was a pretty wise man. Like, I don't know. I don't know, right?
Who he thinks are wise is probably a wild conversation we can have off camera, because that doesn't move me at all. Sir Hall. Oh my God, I'm so tired of this dude. I swear. I'm so tired of Jim Harbaugh. Dude, come on, man. No, I understand all the X's and O's.
I think we found your college team.
Oh, not these guys. Not
That's what I mean. It's anybody that plays Michigan.
Yeah, great. Michigan State, you in the lead right now. You in the lead, Sparty Nation. Where we at? This is so weird, bro. I can't believe that's an actual tactic. Open your Bibles, guys, and let's talk King Solomon for
Okay, listen, I don't think they went out and had like team devotionals and a prayer meeting.
We don't know that though. But he's so weird, we can't even make that assumption. We can't even say it's safe to say that. Really? Man, get Jim Harbaugh out of here, bro. I'm so sick of him.
Ricky.
Lord, man. Anytime someone goes turn up, let's go. What are we talking about? Jesus.
Hey, look. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, as somebody who, has a bit of a background on those types of things, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, let's make fun of him for using the Bible. Just let's not grasp at straws for what we think that is being taught in that
you can do that. I'll take that. It's okay. I'll be the bad cop proudly. I don't care what nobody says. I'll own that one.
A for effort, F for execution, man. Like
big facts.
Yeah,
yes.
Big fat. Horrible. But I don't know. Listen. The Wolverines kick off this Saturday against Colorado State at noon on ABC, and the Spartans kick off Friday night on ESPN against Western Michigan. College football is back, and it is good. It is good. I don't mean to quote Genesis there for you when I say that it is good.
Yeah,
Eric.
yeah.
My
Don't do
bad.
that. See, look
My
at you.
bad. Let's get to the
getting
fun
corrupted
part.
already, bro.
Let's get to Hoo-Rah or Who Cares. We're going to react to some of the latest NFL and that should say football headlines. That's a typo on my part because one of my stories is not NFL related, Eric.
Okay, cool. All right.
So we're reacting. You're going to give me if you think it's a Hoo-Rah or if you think it's a Who Cares. We've each picked one from each category. So let's go here. I'm going to start and I'm going to kick off with we've already talked about a team in green and white, but we're going to talk about another team in green and white that is local. The Eastern Michigan football program has named Alexis Granada Director of Football Operations. She is a female that is joining the program following a stint as the team's operation intern with the National Football League's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. She will oversee day-to-day operations needs of the EMU football program, assisting with travel coordination, logistics, and other team needs. Eric, is that a Hoo-Rah or is that a Who Cares?
That's a big hoorah. That's got to be a big hoorah. As a former Eastern Michigan student myself, went there for a year. I know they're still trying to get their football team and their athletics back on the ground up and going. So that's huge for them in terms of their projection in the future and their layout and their administration, their and how they're building their program. So I think that's an awesome hoorah. I think so, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who cares.
I mean,
that.
Just making
We're
sure.
5 episodes into this. There ain't no way I'm taking any chance of getting
There you
canceled.
go.
And I am
Yeah,
happy
don't do
for
that.
her. Like,
Don't do that to
great
yourself.
job, Alexis. We wish you the best. We hope you do a great job. There's nothing wrong. Like, if you have a problem with a woman being an operations director of a football team, like, that's more of a you problem than it is a university or a them problem because people are capable of doing jobs regardless of gender or anything like this. This is not one of those types of programs, and we are not even going to go down that rabbit hole, but this is an absolute hoorah. You are up.
Big time. You kind of hinted at it, honestly. I was really going to shout this guy out because I'm following his career pretty heavy now. Mine has to go to Malik Willis. He's been a huge standout performer during preseason. Had an awesome showing against the Cardinals. I think he just played recently where he threw for 131 yards, ran for 79. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing from him. I really want to see Tennessee take care of him, and I really want to see him take Ryan Tannehill's job. I didn't like his quote of, it's not my job to mentor him. It's your job to be a good teammate, pal. Knock it off. You're not good enough anyway to just sit on talent. So teach, be a good teammate, and help the kid out. I'm cheering for Malik Willis, and I hope he does well.
So that's what Charles says is who cares?
Okay.
In the sense that, and I know why Charles says this, because in the Facebook group Busted Kneecaps, and if you're not a part of that, you should join it because it's DSN's exclusive Lions group, Busted Kneecaps. There was a dude in there that leading up to the draft and even weeks after the draft would only post Malik Willis highlight videos.
Oh yeah.
So to that extent, it's kind of a who cares for me. Though I want him to succeed. Listen, you may not even know this, but that's my alma mater.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I'm rooting for him, right?
Yeah.
I'm rooting for him from Liberty University. Like, go Flames, which is a terrible nickname, but whatever.
Yeah, it's not.
Anyway, it's awful. But I'm rooting for him, but, like, hearing that news, I'm just kind of like, I don't care, man. Like,
it's preseason. You're not supposed to. We're not supposed to be that invested. For me, I am, just because I don't like Ryan Tannehill, and I really want to see him. And just because of the Lions aspect that they were this close to maybe getting him. But I'll be watching him closely. So Malik, you in good spirits with me, my guy. I'm watching you.
So this is not part of the segment necessarily, but as Jacob has alerted us to, and I have confirmed on Twitter from Tom Pelissaro that there are reports coming out that Tim Boyle is being cut by the Lions.
TB12?
Wow. TB12, Detroit's version of TB12 is going to be cut. That's not a headline for this segment, but I did want to make sure that everybody knew that. And listen, I mean, at the end of the day, one of them was going to go. Mm-hmm. And there's a potential that both of them could go.
Yep.
And then they just find somebody that another team has let go and pick them up.
Exactly.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. Here
No.
is my other headline for Hoo-Rah or Who Cares from Aaron Wilson. Source: 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo negotiate 1-year restructured deal worth $7 million, max value of $16 million.
Wow. Porn star Jimmy. That's got to be a who cares. You're not yeah. We're not propping up for Jimmy
I am
Garoppolo as a
so
backup
sick of
quarterback.
hearing about the most glorified backup quarterback of all time because he backed
Yes.
up Tom Brady.
Yes.
I do not care.
No. He's a
I do not care.
he's a pretty Tim Tebow. All he does is win. He was holding that. He was the only thing that didn't fit on that 49ers team. Like,
And here's the reality, right? And Dan Orlovsky made this statement on Twitter. This is weird. Could be a trade piece, or he said there was a third part of it. He goes, but there's shadows of something here, right? Like they're restructuring the deal in a way to make, because I mean, look, there's no secret that he's been on the trade block.
yeah.
But I guarantee you they haven't gotten an offer that met that contract. So
They
of course they restructured it.
Yeah, they openly said if he wasn't hurt, we would have traded him already, which is
Yeah.
nuts to say publicly.
Oh, I like this from Ricky. He's got a Hoo-Rah and Who Cares. Hoo-Rah, Barry Sanders' son, is on the Michigan State basketball team. Who cares? Aaron Rodgers is treating games like Woodstock. Why does that not surprise me at all?
Well, shout out to Ricky for leading right into mine.
There you go.
Aaron Rodgers, throw Rogan, come on down. I am so sick of this man. I've spent all my energy on the old quarterbacks I've hated for Tom Brady. I'm sharing some of that for Aaron Rodgers now. I'm so tired of this dude. Going on the Joe Rogan interview, sitting up here acting again like he's just smarter than everybody else with these manipulated comments about the vaccine, his workouts with his team when he's going at it over his young receivers, everything about coming in looking like Nicolas Cage with your new work build and your cut off teeth. I'm just so tired of everything that has to do with Aaron Rodgers. So everything in regards to him is a big who cares. Leave me alone.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
How much should I charge you for this session tonight?
Because
people can pay good money to listen to somebody as angry as you are tonight.
I needed that. I need this for like therapy, to be honest with you.
I'm glad that it's cathartic, but man, expect an invoice in the mail because you might be.
No worries. They've built up my blood pressure this high, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's who cares. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers. The only time I've ever cared about Aaron Rodgers when he was traded to me in fantasy football last year. And he was only traded to me because I also got A.J. Brown. That's the only time I ever cared about him. And he's a fantastic fantasy quarterback for the most part when he had Devontae Adams. He ain't going to be this year.
No.
But, yeah, who cares?
He's just obnoxious. I was watching a little bit of the Packers play with Jordan Love. I think they were playing the Chiefs. He was looking pretty good. Found myself cheering for him on the low. Great.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to see Aaron Rodgers. Look, I'll have more respect for Jared Goff if he goes and he sweeps the Green Bay Packers this year. Oh, in fact, I'll put it on record right now. I won't say a negative thing about Jared Goff for the rest of the year if he sweeps the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to pour some just so we can manifest that to happen.
All right.
Just so we can bring that to fruition. No problem. Come on, Goff. We're here with you, baby.
Speaking of more Aaron Rodgers hate, Aaron Rodgers was asked to leave the Matrix.
Yeah.
Ricky, you are very funny. I'm so glad that you come by and interact with us because it is so much fun. Before we do sign off for Beyond the Box, though, Eric, we have a little bit of an announcement that we need to make.
Yes, we do. Let's do that.
So I'm going to go ahead and pass the ball over to you and let you run with it. Go ahead and make that announcement for all of the people watching right now.
Okay, I need everybody to set their calendars. We've had a good time on the show so far. Everybody on Beyond the Box, we appreciate you tuning in to me and AJ. We're bringing our first guest to the show on Labor Day. Good friend of mine, one of the most powerful voices in Detroit, Metro Detroit, and in the football period. The voice of Ford Field, the Detroit Lions' old gridiron, will be our host. The guy who sings the Lions fight song when they score touchdowns, Mr. Forward Down the Field, will be joining us here on Beyond the Box on Labor Day, 7 o'clock. Get your calendars ready. I've done work with him myself. He's an awesome dude, really talented. He's a singer. We're going to have a lot to talk about with him, man.
Yes,
I'm
we are.
super excited to bring Gridiron on the show. So, G, if
Super
you're watching,
excited.
we ready for you, baby.
Absolutely ready for you and cannot wait. Now, listen, I know that it's going to be on Labor Day. So let's say you got family plans. Guess what? Check out our YouTube channel because
Yes.
it will be there and you can watch it then. Any social media you're comfortable with, right? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, we're all over it. So make sure that you are following, make sure that you are subscribing, liking, whatever the social media wants you to do. Just make sure you're doing it for Detroit Sports Nation. On YouTube, hit that subscribe, click that bell so that you can get notification when our latest content drops. There'll be a ton coming out this week. A lot of it focused on the Tigers who are still playing, and then, of course, the Detroit Lions as well as they gear up for their season kicking off here pretty soon. That is going to do it for us on Beyond the Box. Eric, it's been fun, and I hope you got a lot off your chest tonight, buddy.
Yeah. I need to get some sleep.
Okay, good.
Not think about Jim Harbaugh and Aaron Rodgers no more. I need to
Okay,
just sound my
good.
spirits right.
Good. Well, I'm glad that we could have this, this moment. So we will do it again next Monday night at 7 p.m. We will
Yeah.
see all of you then. Thank you so much for tuning in. He is Eric Vincent. I am AJ Reilly, and we will see you next Monday night on Beyond.